So welcome to Signature Soul Work. It's such an honor to be able to guide you through this conversation because it was such a tremendous struggle for me to permit myself to be who I really am in this world, although nothing else was working anyway. So I had been in business for 6 years and I listened to what other people said about who I should be, and I was very open to advice, and I made it very, very difficult to actually be who I am in the world. And some of you know that where I had worked with a business partner previously, I actually came out in business on my own, and liberating myself and permitting myself to do things my way surprisingly was easy, more joyful, and I got a far better response than I ever had before. More aligned clients, more joyful work, and more people saying kind, wonderful things about me, which I hadn't ever really had before. And I think we all deserve that in this world. Everyone who is here live for this webinar, you are all incredibly gifted, kind, gentle women. And often for us in this world, the challenge is that we don't really feel safe enough to be who we are. And one of the big things that you can feel from my energy and from my truth is that I'm incredibly nurturing, and I love helping other people to feel so safe that they let their truth be shared in this world, because I know how many people need all of you, and I admire you all greatly. So for those listening to the replay, I know that this is the same for you as well. And what I'm going to present at this time is a map of sorts. It's taken me years to fumble and bumble through finding this for myself. And what I want to do is impart it in a way that helps you tune into who you are and then bring that forward in a way that will serve you professionally through your businesses. So, what I really love about what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be dancing through a topic on identity, a topic on your own personal story. How much do we share? What parts do we share? This is all highly problematic. How do we conceptualize our framework? Because there are many people offering many different frameworks, and there's potentially a big debate over what framework is the best, and that's not my perspective. I really believe that every one of us has a framework that's in tune and aligned with the truth of who we are, and that our tribe is going to love exactly what worked for us. And so we can really trust ourselves to choose a framework that aligns beautifully with who we are. I'm a huge supporter of transparency, authenticity, and genuine love in our messaging, that when we show up in the world to truly be of service, that's actually how we market. And I know that you guys see how I love doing that. The last thing is how we can actually use our own personal experience and story to share offers. And for me, sharing the story of working so hard to become something that I thought would be successful, feeling empty, hollow, miserable, and unsuccessful, permitted me to go, to hell with all of that. I'm simply going to be who I am. Now, I never expected to go well. I want to be honest about that. And that's why I'm so happy, because I started experimenting with that 3.5 years ago. And as I've shared, my profit in the business has expanded so much every year that I can share from my heart with conviction that I know what I'm going to share tonight is true for me. And I want you to tune in and feel if it feels like it has a resonance and truth for you. So, our identity is the beginning. Now, if you follow energy medicine or you're aware of the chakra system, our root chakra sits at the very base. And I wanted to start with identity because it's actually the key of our signature soul work. Your sacred work in this world is a reflection and an extension of who you are. And those of you who have hired me personally will know that my work and mentoring you to develop your own soul work is all about supporting you to feel safe in your truth. So perfect time to talk about affirmations of, I'm safe to be who I am in this world. And all of us can probably relate to a past experience where that didn't feel like it was the case. So the more that we can come into alignment with our truth, the more easy it is to connect with our ideal client, our dream soul tribe, and we just all of a sudden start to feel that wave and cascade of people coming towards us. So we're going to be looking at 2 parts of your identity. One is, who are you personally? Now, that's so immense and it would take a lifetime to actually convey. But we want to think about who you are in your business in relation to your tribe. So they're going to be the two parts. I really love this. If we turn over to page 2, when we're talking about our story is an extension of our identity. So we're deepening in here that the challenges that we've overcome personally are another way of connecting with our ideal client and our dream tribe. Everyone here actually resonates with being highly sensitive. So all of us have been told that we're over the top, we're too much, we're too emotional, we cry too often. And so for me, when I reference that in my social media sharing, my people go, hey, Lysa, I know what you're talking about. Not necessarily like that, but they feel a resonance with what I'm sharing because that has been my experience as well. What I like to think about when it comes to story is that some of us can get overwhelmed with our identity and our story because it's so immense. I love the concept of a constellation. So what I want you to think of is my eldest son's name is Orion, and Orion is named after Orion's belt, the star constellation in the sky. And when my son looks out into the sky, he always narrows in on those 3 stars that represent Orion's belt. What I want you to do is very simply think about your identity and your story with just 3 key points. Now, I'm numerology number 3, so everything I do is kind of 3, 3, 3. So if you notice that, that's why. What I'm going to be getting you to do is think about 3 parts of your identity and 3 parts of your story and see how it's really, really minimal. But what you're going to be doing by making it really simple is that you're opening up an angle and a corner that gives permission for your truth to be expressed very simply and allows it to directly connect with other people who are going to resonate with those specific words. So Dave Grohl had this beautiful quote that no one is you and that is your power, and that's what signature soul work is all about. And that's why I'm talking about how irreplicable, yes, nailed that word, it actually is, because nobody has your past experiences. No one is who you are, and that actually allows you to connect with a certain type of clientele and a certain portion of the market that no one else can reach like you can. Now, I say this with so much conviction because I never knew it was true for me. I always used to say, I'm not good at business, I'm just good with people. Now, every one of you beautiful hearts is very good with people, when there are people, okay? When we're saying people, we're talking about our people, okay? and our people, you are amazing at communicating, hearing, understanding, communicating with your people. And what I want to remind you is that business is just a reflection of relating with your people. Okay, so if you've ever had any hesitations about business, I really want to encourage you to know that business is just about relating with people, but it's doing it from a perspective of knowing who you are and what story you want to share that's going to allow them to come forward. So the third point, we're going to be talking about conceptualizing your own framework for transformation. And I want you to think even now, what's one thing that I have conquered in my life that my clients look up to me and revere me for? And if you want, go ahead and type that in the comment section. And let's go ahead and go, what is one thing that you have conquered in your life? Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to I'm going to give myself a bit of a compliment here. One of the things that I've conquered in my life is that I am somebody that is deeply feeling, but I have kept my heart gentle, open, and unfurled. I've kept myself tender. Now, that's actually a huge success in this world. If you know, and some people will say, you're so strong, but you're so gentle. And that is one of the things that I'm incredibly successful at, that I want to give myself a bit of credit for. So go ahead and think about, what's one thing that I have triumphed, and how is it that I can reflect that to myself right now and really acknowledge myself? What's something that I have done? Something that I have triumphed, conquered, you know, the fact that I've been able to just go ahead and declare that I have a tender heart after all of my suffering and not feeling like I belong. Keeping that tender heart is something that I can acknowledge for myself. You can send them in to me if you would like. In number 4, we're going to be talking about authentic messaging. Now, we had a little bit of a conversation before this webinar started that masculine energy is about pushing, it's about reinforcing scarcity, it's about fear of missing out. One of the big challenges with all of that is that it burns up so much energy, and sometimes it can work for some men, but it's incredibly imbalanced. One of the key components of all of my work is teaching a very feminine-based form of marketing, which is it has to be transparent and authentic. If you're not revealing the truth, you can't lead people, okay? There's a concept I feel to share here that my husband and I have gotten into gardening, and we purchased a whole bunch of seeds and grew beautiful sunflowers, and then we were harvesting the sunflower seeds only to realize that they were empty. And that's a true reflection of some of the marketing, some of the programs, and some of the work that's in the world right now, is that you get one flower, okay, but it's a bit of deception that people aren't always passing along the ability for self-replication. Okay, just raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about self-replication and seeds that can actually be put back in the soil. And so some teachers will actually share information that you think you want, that you think you need, but it doesn't allow you to apply it, or in other words, put that seed back in the ground and grow another sunflower. So I'm a really big believer in transparency and authenticity, so that what we share with people is something that can be shared. The last point, I think, is summed up best with people don't want to hear what you know. They want to hear what you've conquered because of what you know. It's no longer about inspirational memes. It's about, if I just said, you should accept yourself, that just is going to fall flat on social media. But if I said it was a 17-year journey with 5 different eating disorders for me to learn self-acceptance through compassion. Okay, so see how when we're trying to inspire and lead people, if we go, believe in yourself, and then you go, okay, I was halfway up Mount Fuji, it was 3 a.m., my thighs were burning, I was falling backwards in the rubble, I wanted to get to the top, I wanted to get up to that top of Mount Fuji. I was only in Japan once, I was there with an Irish friend, he'd hauled me along, but I actually gave up. And in giving up, I just sat there and gave myself the rest, and then I kept going. And so I want you to believe in yourself and just keep going where you can. And so see how when we're giving inspirational thoughts, if we embed them within a story, that is so much more powerful. So that's a brief overview. Let's dive in together and workshop some of these concepts and see how we can use them in your businesses to bring forward your sacred soul work in a way that will resonate with your tribe, have you sought after and booked up so that you prosper on purpose in your beautiful work.